Oh, my bad. Look, you couldn't even hear me that whole time. My apologies. Look, I was talking. Now there we go. Yeah, no sound. Just fixed it. That's funny. I would have gone on an entire tangent, and nobody would have even heard me. But yeah, as I was saying, let me fix this web stuff here. What as I was saying, Mark Five. And what's up, Just Walt? Thank you for stopping by. You're the first person here. How you doing today? How are you doing, Keith? How you doing? God Sheet Out. You said it's about to go down in Kevin Hart's voice. What is Kevin Hart's voice like? I forgot. Actually, I haven't heard Kevin Hart in a second. I can mimic voices decently if I hear them, but if I don't, if I don't remember how a voice is, then I can't mimic it that well, and I don't remember how Kevin Hart sounds. But as I was saying, yeah, Mark Five is gonna really change a lot of things because when you're building these type of things, I've been building this for 5 years, and that's the one thing you never know. You never really know which route things are going to go down or shift. That was one of the debate topics that we were talking about last time. Somebody asked me like, "What's the difference between what you're doing in a really big company?" And I'm like, "Well, the biggest difference I have and the biggest advantage I have is being able to switch up really quickly. Like, go from a traditional pyrolysis machine to a microwave pyrolysis machine to a microwave pyrolysis machine under vacuum to a microwave pyrolysis machine under vacuum and powered by solar to now a microwave pyrolysis machine under vacuum powered by solar on a trailer with solar panels all over it." And being able to just switch up because I've been building on average one machine a year. And I just do it. If I think of a better approach and perspective, I don't have the contingencies holding me back of I need to appeal to this guy or this guy. I just do it, because all I have is you guys, and you guys support me as long as the mission is getting closer to the end goal, which is having a solution for all of our plastic, getting rid of microplastics, and hopefully going after these dang gas prices at the same time. Now let me see if this Discord sound is working. Let me test. Yes, it is. Great. All right, yep, because we're going to get started on this live Q&A. It's going to launch at 7 p.m. EST. Those of you that want to join, got the link here. Let me pin it in the chat. Hey, who wants to be a moderator in the YouTube chat? I'll make somebody a moderator. I don't think we have any moderators in here right now. It's always good to find some new people who are interested in being moderators. Started on this. But yeah, this is something that we're going to do every Wednesday. Here, I will be in Texas next Wednesday. I'm going to be in Houston, Dallas, as well as Austin, Texas. It's going to be quite a busy week for me next week. But nonetheless, let me see if I can get this Jabaroma right. Oh yeah, it'll be a little bit of a busy week for me next week. But either way, I'm going to try to still get this live debate. I don't know how it's going to go because I'm going to have to try to do it off my laptop. You said, are you hiring? Not now, but actually we probably will be hiring pretty soon for Jabaroma. But that's exclusively for anybody local in Georgia, Douglasville, because Jabaroma is about to come out. First of all, actually, let me get it. Let me get this. So, like all episodes of Critical Conversations, this episode is sponsored by Jabaroma. you can go on Jabaroma.com. Those of you that don't know what it is my natural products brand. And when I say my brand, I'm not talking like Prime, as if there's some stakeholders who really own it and I'm just the face. No, I started this brand in my apartment. Okay, I was making deodorants in my apartment, and it's a small business I own, I run, and now and then I moved it to my garage, and now we're in a warehouse. And this is a small family business right here in Georgia, run by me. Everything is is through me. I make all the decisions. No, there's nobody over me. And we make all natural products like all natural deodorant, all natural lotion. And when I say all natural, I mean it. I mean, these are 5 ingredients. In fact, I think the thing with the longest ingredient list on the whole website is 6 ingredients. And all of these ingredients are great things. The deodorant has magnesium hydroxide, tapioca starch, shea butter, almond oil, and essential oils, right? So no petroleum-derived ingredients, no aluminum. And that's how everything is on the website. And actually, we have a brand new item, which is literally just launched, and that is this, the all-natural hair conditioning, detangling, and scalp moisturizing spray. And so here's how it is with Jabaroma. You support yourself. You're getting all-natural products that are good, great price. And then you're supporting the project because 10% of the proceeds, 10% of the profits go to Nature Jab. And like I said, this is none of that typical stuff you see online where influencers say, hey, I own it, but they really are just a face of some big pyramid. No, this is a genuine small business. I really own it. I really started it, making every single thing myself, and we grew it. You said I have the Tropical Bloom and the Obsidian deodorants. I love them both. Yep, look, I got Obsidian right here. Yeah, hey, Obsidian is the scent. Thank you, Hills End 2055. Wonder 32 said, the grifting legend is live. Hey, Wonder 3R22, I got something for you. Click that link at the top of the YouTube chat, and you can make your way in the Discord and debate and make your point as to why I am a grifting legend, according to you. You will have the absolute opportunity to have my entire platform to prove your point. And hey, if you have a good point and it's true, I guess you can embarrass me in front of all of my followers on all my platforms. But either way, that's the whole point of these days of critical conversations, to allow people that have critical thoughts to make their way up here and share your thoughts. Because look, you could just type that in the YouTube chat, and to be honest, your reach is going to be limited, right? Because the only people that are going to see it are in the YouTube chat. But guess what? Wonder 3R22. If you come up here in this Discord and you debate me, and you can prove to everybody what you're saying, that I'm the grifting legend, then guess what? You yourself will have the ability to dismantle everything I've done in front of all of my people. So I gladly encourage you to step out of the YouTube chat and be one of the contestants in the live debates we're gonna do. I don't know. Let me see how well you guys can see that. I don't think I need that text on the screen to Jabaroma.com. Maybe I'll put it down here. You said, are your products cat friendly? No, they are not, Mr. Spock. Now I am working to make some pet friendly products. Cats are really difficult. I'll tell you now. Dogs, so I learned a lot. Dogs are sensitive to a ton of different essential oils, right? There's some that you cannot use on dogs. Like tea tree is like, no. Some you can use on dogs, right? Cats, from my research, there's almost no essential oils you can use on cats. And that's the issue. Because, and you know, I'm still doing research. I'm not saying it's impossible. But the most important thing is that, of course, everything is safe, everything is real, everything is transparent. And I'm not going to lie to you. I would love to get something out for cats today, but, you know, I'm not going to put something out that's going to come back later and I'm harming people's cats. You know, if it's going to work, it's going to work. If it doesn't work, I'll just keep it real with you and tell you it doesn't work. So we'll figure out something. I'm working on something that's going to be called Bark Off, and what it's going to be is essentially Jabaroma for dogs. So it's going to be a natural mosquito, flea, and fly, and all that type of those annoying insect repellents for dogs, and it'll be completely natural, completely safe for dogs. A lot of stuff for dogs on the market is not safe for dogs at all. I learned that after I got Pyro. You said, absolutely love that you kept Pyro. Thank you, Perno Benedict. Benedetto. You said, do you want to be a millionaire? I don't know if I necessarily want to, but I absolutely have to. I absolutely have to be a millionaire. Now, I don't want to be a billionaire. I'll tell you that right now, because you can't be a billionaire without exploitation. But a millionaire, I think I absolutely have to, because of what it takes to do what I do, to get the nature jet pyrolysis reactor out there, and to get even like the Jabaroma natural products out there. All these things are revolutionary things in the industry to really put change in the world. We're giving people natural products that are actually truly natural, and not just saying natural on the front and a whole bunch of petrochemical on the back. And of course, reactors that are really getting rid of plastic waste, not the recycling scam and lie saying we're recycling when we're only recycling less than 1% of the plastic. This is all legit stuff. So, I think that there's, you don't have to be a billionaire to make this type of impact, but you do need to be at least a millionaire, because I'll tell you right now, that machine is expensive as heck. And so being a millionaire does not necessarily mean I have $1 million in my personal account. That means that I'm able to build $1 million machines. I'm able to have a warehouse and have millions of dollars of products going out to people. That does not mean I myself have a net worth of $1 million and I'm just hoarding millions of dollars. No, I'm saying I want to have value of millions going out into the world in what I'm doing. And ultimately, I want that to transcend and inspire people to be worth quadrillions, because now it's not just me. Now it's people building these machines. Now it's people starting their own natural product brands. We're setting new precedents for everything, where you don't have to scam, you don't have to lie, you don't have to say these things. You don't have to say you're recycling if you're not recycling. You don't have to say your product is natural if it's not natural. We're doing real stuff. We're moving into a new generation, a new era where real things are real. And that's it. So we're starting this live debate. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, here we go. We're starting this live debate on Discord. Hold on, I don't think they can hear me on Discord. Why does this thing keep changing my mic? That's what I don't get. Hey, everybody on Discord, what's up, guys? Yep, you guys can hear me. Cool. Let me get this camera. See if I can get this camera working. Because last time I was trying, it wasn't working. Let's see. Oh, awesome. Awesome. So we got the camera working on Discord. Hey, look, we got 20-something people in here already. What's up, everybody? What's up? Yeah, last time I couldn't have my camera going. Hey, there's a reminder to you guys in Discord that we are live streaming right now on YouTube. And this is a reminder to you guys on YouTube that we are right now. We just started the Discord. So here's how this is going to work, everybody. Those of you on YouTube, we have a link pinned to the top of the chat. That's the Discord server. You can join. And when you join, you come down this menu here. You see, we have this menu. Let me see if I can move this over. Yep. Have this menu. Scroll down. Boom. Get over to Critical Conversations. And then you can join. And then you have to raise your hand to be led up. Those of you that are in here in the Discord, feel free to raise your hands. Whoever wants to be the first person up. Thank you all for making it in. Appreciate you guys as always. You said Julian Brown is my biggest inspiration from Gen Z. And thank you so much, King Najadaka. King Najadaka. I appreciate that. And that's honestly what I try to be above all else, just an inspiration to people, because, I feel like you can do what you want to do all you want. You can make money, you can do this, you can do that. But to inspire is really the only way to make a true change. Like, even beyond building machines, the machines can do what they do. But to inspire people, it's like a fire. You can light up. With a single fire, you can light so many candles, right? And that's what inspiration is. You said, when are you going to Austin? I'll be in Austin, I believe, next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I believe. Keep up with my social medias, and you will figure out the exact time. So yes, somebody in the Discord, please raise your hands and let me know when you want to get up, and we will begin this. Other than that, until somebody raises... Oh, we got somebody. Little Joey. 1 second. Let me respond to this message here, and then I'll let you up, Little Joey. And thank you for raising your hand. You'll be the first person up. Just give me 1 second. Let me just send this before I forget. All right. Invite to speak. Here we go. All right, little Joey, you are up. You are now invited to be a speaker.
Yes, okay, hi.
Hey, little Joey, how are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I feel good today. How are you, Nature Jab?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking.
Be honest, be honest.
Hey, well, okay, thank you. So yes, I am feeling good. I'm always grateful. It has been quite a busy and hectic day for me. Just a lot of stuff going on, and every day has been that way since the beginning of the year for me, to be honest. However, hey, nothing to complain about really. You just I'm just grateful to be able to have the opportunities I have.
That's cool. I understand that you're making the either diesel or gas or jet fuel, but you're not able to make enough to fuel all of your needs. When you need some diesel, some gas, or jet fuel, where do you get your gas?
So I make all three: diesel, gasoline, and jet fuel. And you're right. I'm the machine I had in Alabama did not make um it did not make enough fuel. So when I get my gas, I get it from the pump. I'll be completely honest. And that's just because I'm doing R&D. My machine sometimes breaks down. It doesn't operate how I always want it to, and it's 4 hours away from me. So unless that machine was operating perfectly every time, and I had a super efficient vehicle, and it was just a perfect world, then as it stands, unfortunately, right now, like when I'm driving out to Texas, for example, I'm still buying gas from the pump.
Is there any particular type of gas or brand of gasoline that you go to?
No, not really. Nowadays, gas has fallen a lot in terms of its quality, no matter where you get it from nowadays. I would say Quick Trip probably has the best variety of options. If you get to a really good Quick Trip, they'll have like ethanol free options. They'll have blah blah blah. But I have a Sienna, a 2011 Sienna, so I don't put premium in it or anything. I just put 87 and I go on my day. I usually save my plastoline and stuff for cooler vehicles, not my own vehicle, an old minivan.
All right. And I got another question for you because I'm also building a machine. I was inspired
Yeah, a
by
pyrolysis
what you're
machine.
doing, and not quite. What I'm doing is more of like an incinerator
Okay,
for burning rubbish.
okay, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you
And
were inspired. Yeah, what's your question?
well, I'm looking at the setting up some motors and controlling them with relays, but I keep blowing out relays and keep messing up motors. Can you talk a little bit about setting up reliable systems with the what type of switches you're using and etc.?
Well, the only way that I would know that you'd be blowing out relays is if you're putting way too high of a voltage in them. So you got to make sure, like, what is your system using? Are you using 12 volt, 24 volt, 120 volt? What voltage?
I've taken mains power, which is 120 volt AC, and I've splitting it into with a rectifier into positive and negative, so I get about 60 volts positive and 60 volts negative.
Yes, I
And then I want
understand
to
that, but what
switch
are your relays rated for?
the relays are advertised for 15 amps, but they can't even do
But
a
how
few
many
amps and they
volts?
blow out.
How many volts are they rated for?
The volts?
Because that could be your
I
issue.
don't know.
They
I'd
might
have
be
to check.
15 amps at 2 volts, and you're putting in 60 volts AC. That's why they're going to get blown out like that.
Do you use any like vacuum tubes for your relays, or what do you use for
Vacuum
your
tubes
relay?
are not relays. I use vacuum tubes inside of the magnetrons to make the microwaves. But for relays, I'll tell you what I do. For relays, I have this system where I'm able to take in 12 volts DC, so I convert 220 volt AC from my solar generator, and it turns it into I have this inverter that takes that 220 volts, converts it to 12 volts DC, and that powers my relay system. And those relays control 120 volts to 220 volts of AC that then powers other systems. So What I recommend you do is just go on to let's just say Amazon, for example, and look up real. They make relays that can work directly with 120 volts as is or 220 volts as is. You don't even have to step it down or convert it. You can work directly off of 120 or 220 volts. That's what I recommend, because the only reason that a relay or a motor would be getting blown out consistently is if you're putting the wrong voltage through it. So you got to pay attention to that. Ampacity is one thing, yes, but voltage is very important as well.
I'm running the motor at a high speed, and I think the issue is I'm only breaking one side of the current. Like there's two wires going to it, and I'm only breaking one side of it. So I think there's still a lot of energy in the motor as it's spinning, which I believe is what's blowing out the relay. Is the like the motor, as it continues spinning or spinning down, it's generating current in the other direction, which the switch wasn't anticipating.
No, that's not quite how it works. If this is AC, AC is going back and forth on both wires, both legs anyway. So, like I said, you need to look up your motor, make sure it's AC, an AC motor. You need to make sure your relays are AC relays and make sure they're for that set voltage. Thank you for your question. I'm glad I could inspire you. We do need to let the
Yeah.
next person in. If you need any other additional assistance, you can ask the chat, this Discord server chat. There's plenty of people in here who do this stuff all the time and will gladly help you with those issues. Thank you so much for your question. And if you have another one, you can raise your
Major
hand if
fan.
you have another thing you want to say up here.
I no, I just wanted to say,
Thank you. All right, we're gonna let I don't know who rose their hand first. I think it was Lexington. We'll let Lexington up, and then you dig that. Uh, Wonder 3R22 said he needs to wait 10 minutes. Well, we'll be here for probably at least an hour or two, so you'll have time to get in here. Wonder, Lexington, how you doing?
Hey, Julian, this is Dorian and Alex. I'm with Fusion Punks podcast. I've been trying to contact you like via the comment section or whatever, talking about a way that we can burn uh, alternative fuels like plastic oil using a plasma fuel reformer technology. I don't know if you're familiar with Malcolm Bendel's thunderstorm generator or Paul Pantone's GEAT reactor. It's basically it's kind of like a turbocharger, but instead of building boost or adding extra air to the engine, it's making fuel or synthesizing hydrogen from steam and basically recycling the thermal energy from the exhaust. And it allows the fuel to burn in a way that is basically converting carbon into oxygen. And so it's a way that we can burn fuel and in a way that is reversing climate change. Just kind of wondering if you're familiar with these technologies yet. I don't know if you heard about Joe Rogan tried to interview Malcolm Bendel and it was censored off Spotify. They wouldn't let him broadcast it.
I did not know about that piece, that it was censored. I have been told
Yeah.
about the thunderstorm generator. I didn't
Yeah.
know all the specifications from it. In fact, I didn't even know if it was legit, because like there's tons of things that pop up all the time that people say this and it's not real.
There,
But that's very interesting.
there are a lot of fake ones that you put out. Um, Yeah, so I'm collaborating with a friend, Ash Groam. We have the Fusion Punks podcast. I'm the premier guest on there, and we're working on replicating the Thunderstorm generator. My kit just came in the mail yesterday, so we're going to be fitting it to a 4,500 watt generator that's meant to run on propane or gasoline, and we're going to be doing fuel economy testing and the emissions testing. And so basically, this is a way that we can burn the fuel that you're producing in a way that's taking the carbon out of the air as the engine runs.
That's great.
Okay.
And if that stuff is really legit, I think that that's really the type of stuff that we should be focused on in this world, because you know when it comes down to it, we're far too advanced. Like, we shouldn't be working on AI if we still have waste. We shouldn't be working on AI if we still have inefficient engines. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we're
Right.
way too advanced as a society and as a people to still be dealing with, you could say, these barbaric issues of like landfills and inefficient engines that aren't at least like at this point in day, like it should be every engine should be at least 80% efficient. Let alone if you're saying now there's engines that can convert the CO2 into oxygen and do that chemical change. These are type of things that I think should just be everyday stuff at this point at a time in history instead of working on data centers and all this. So I'm with it. Now, did you have a question at all?
So this is Lex here with Dorian. And well, I guess one of the questions was like, had you heard about it? But I have one that's related to that and another one that's more specific to your technology. But I guess one of the questions would be like, hey, would you be interested in us like demoing this with you? We can meet up somewhere closer to you and bring the technology and run your fuel through it and test efficiency. I think it could be a great opportunity to show people how to make fuel efficiently and then how to use it efficiently.
Yeah, thanks guys. I turned up the volume. Let me see. That should be it. Yeah, you have to send me an email on that for us to get further info on that. So
I did actually email you a little while back when you kind of disappeared off the internet.
Well, there was a lot of stuff going on there, so I definitely did not see your email. I probably literally got like close to probably 4,000 emails at that time. So please, please send me another email, and we'll be able to talk about that further. But thank you.
Yeah.
Good. I have one question that I promise is more on topic, if you don't mind. I promise.
Yeah. This will be the last one, then we'll get on to the next person.
Right on. So I remember we were often talking about some of the potential toxic byproducts that could come out of these reactions, and one of the things we were concerned about was styrene. I haven't been following you for as closely since the talking about that, and I was wondering, how did you guys manage to deal with the styrene? Like, how did you manage to break it down or keep it at such a low concentration in the end product?
So when I had my initial analysis done, it was done on a machine that was pretty much tailored specifically to heat up the sample to the exact temperature of styrene. And I always had my suspicions that the styrene percentage in the end product of plastiline was not that high. The reason being is because one of the things that styrene does in high percentages is it forms, just like how styrofoam kind of works, it forms these really long, kind of stringy webs. So you can't use styrene as a fuel as is because it literally will clog your engine and form these long, stringy webs over time of like styrene webs. And so a perfect example is this is a sample of plastiline that I've literally had since April of last year. You take a look at it. There's no styrene webs in there. This is still a liquid, right? And so the concentration of styrene by that nature can't be that high in there, just because once again it would form those webs. So that was what the end of that conversation was. And I had an analysis done after that first analysis, and they didn't find a high styrene percentage. So that was kind of the end of that. The more relevant debate topic was what about like the benzene percentage? What about some other polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon percentages that could be more on the carcinogenic scale? But the styrene is not really that big of a deal.
Well, you might find it interesting. The plasma fuel reforming can potentially break it down and take it down to a molecular level where we can burn that stuff and make it turn into primarily oxygen with a kind of an alchemy.
Oh yeah, for sure, because every hydrocarbon is just a mix of carbon and hydrogen, which can be turned to CO2 and oxygen at the end of the day. Hey, thank you so much for your question. If you have another one,
thank you,
I'll let you back up. I do need to get to the next person. He's been holding his hand for a while. Thank you. You dig that? You're up. You're up, man. Yeah, bumba clutch. You're up. Hey, what's up? You dig that?
Yo, Julia. My name's John Rogers. I got a 3-pronged question. So, first question, I did notice that last year you had an injury dealing with your process, your pyrolysis process. I am a system safety and security engineer. I work for the Chicago Transit Authority as a contractor doing some work in systems and safety and everything. And I was wondering, have you sought out a safety engineer to kind of look at the design of your system, one, and then also look at your processes? and see if we could make things one more efficient, or two more safe, or three both. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great point there. This next machine I'm building, Mark Five, I think that your services would be great because in everything that we're doing in the design, we want to make sure it's as safe as possible. Especially because this machine will not only be mobile, but then it will be directly displayed in front of people. So I think that it would actually be great if you could be in our we have this WhatsApp group chat with some other engineers like CAD designers and stuff, and I think that your expertise would be great in helping design Mark Five to be as safe as possible.
Hey man, I would really love to be involved. I have a company. We're small, haven't really got off into production yet, but we could definitely help you. Definitely help you. I believe in your product. And then that kind of segues into my second question. What are the commercial what are the commercial capabilities for this system you're creating? How do you foresee this panning out in 5 years? Are you thinking about making pyrolysis refineries? Right? Are we thinking about
Well,
recycling
so in the next
campaigns
five
so
years,
people
what's going
can
to
go?
happen is, well, how I see it is, this mobile machine is going to be a success, and then it's going to prove that this is possible to be done on a mobile level, and I'm going to then work on either selling these mobile machines on the trailers, or I'm going to continue building mobile machines until we get them onto a boat, and then once it's on a boat, then from then I think it'll be pretty easy to continue to raise money through like the nonprofit to go out directly into the ocean and then deal with the plastic there. And then now we have these trailers going around that can deal directly with plastic, like on the beach, So now you just deploy these machines where the plastic is and where it needs to be destroyed.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's
So
brilliant.
thank you very much. I
would
do
put
need to get on to the next person here, but thank you very much for your questions. And what I'll do is I'll send you a DM.
Yeah, I'll raise my hand and I'll raise my hand and I'll ask the last one.
Okay, I added you as a friend on Discord, so just look for my friend request, and you could then you can DM me, and then I'll add you to our WhatsApp group chat on the Mark V design team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Carson, I saw you had your hand up earlier.
Hey Julian, what's up?
What's up, Carson?
Yeah, so like the last guy was, I'm in my last semester of chemical engineering, so my question is going to be kind of more towards the commercialization of it. You had talked about like producing more once you do the proof of concept. I was wondering if you planned on manufacturing smaller machines or trying to get a larger capital investment and try to make a plant almost to produce this plastiline at a large scale.
So what I want to do is I'm looking into I'm going to see how these smaller machines do. The reason being is because we've seen big pyrolysis machines around the world already. Like Ron Labe said in my Discord or in my YouTube chat, he said Europe has a commercial pyrolysis plant that makes 2,000 gallons of diesel a day. So we've already seen big plants in the world, and clearly they're not the solution because guess what? We have big plants in other countries, yet we still have tons of ocean plastic waste, tons of plastic everywhere. I truly believe the solution is going to be decentralized and at a more closer to a more consumer level, maybe like a small business municipal level. And because of that, I really am interested in how these trailer mobile machines are going to fare. Like, how can I take my Mark V trailer, go to a beach cleanup, and process every single piece of plastic they picked up on that beach same day, right? And then go to the next spot. Because if I can, then that's a very good model for almost just like how you have dumpster drop-offs when you have all this trash at your house. Now we can have little plastic processing drop-off plants. Same thing for rivers and oceans. You can have a machine that pops up that on the river or pops up in this polluted coastal area in the sea, deals with the plastic, gets out. It could be a nonprofit, or it could even be a service that's hired, because I truly believe the day is going to come within the next 5 to 10 years where plastic is going to be classified as hazardous waste because we know it has microplastic pollution forever. We know that microplastics are endocrine and hormone disrupting. We know that they are found in fetuses. We know they are found in testicles. We know they are in the air and we breathe them in. We know they're in the blood. And so the day is going to come where plastic, certain types of plastic that do not break down, are going to be seen as hazardous waste, and there will be a true business behind not just collecting the plastic, but absolutely destroying it. So that's what I'm betting on in setting up these machines as not just this huge plant where all this plastic needs to be shipped to, but now we can have these little machines that can go in the areas where the plastic is really affecting things the most, because these are the little areas that people aren't really, taking serious, because it's not just this big area where we immediately all want to attack or focus on. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, okay. One more like short thing. I think I could kind of help out. I had an idea for it. I've been taking a few classes in spectroscopy and using like cheap infrared spectroscopy. Like you can get units that we could probably install in the gas line for maybe about $300 to $500. That would allow you to kind of take like every second take samples and make sure that you don't have any larger hydrocarbons, and so you could get a better quality. And I'd love to like jump in. You said you had a group chat, maybe be able to help out sometime in the future.
Oh, so I can send you like some of the plastiline.
So, not so much that like I'm a poor college student. I don't have a setup, you know what I mean? But I could help you get a inline setup going where it would take a small sample of the gas or the liquid feed, and it would basically shine infrared light through there, and then it would tell you like kind of your breakdown of what you're producing then at the moment right there on the machine, and you could maybe load that up into a screen. I know you're trying to do demonstrations, so that would help you show people what is actually being produced right now at that very moment. And like you're going to have different products on startup versus, like steady state in the middle of the run, and then at the end of the run, and then depending on the type of plastic, you're going to have different smaller products. So that would kind of allow you to have online monitoring, and you could probably get it set up for somewhere like the equipment somewhere between like 500, somewhere around
Oh
$500.
wow, okay, yeah, definitely. I'll add you as a friend. You can send me a DM on Discord for that. That's awesome. I think that'll be very valuable because when I do these demonstrations with the machine, I definitely want as much info provided to the people while the machine is operating as possible, because I think it'll be a great education opportunity. So thank you for that so much, Carson. I'm gonna send you a friend request here on Discord, and yeah, we'll talk through that. Thank you.
No
All
problem.
right.
Appreciate the
Yeah.
work you do, Julian.
Let's see what you guys are saying on this Discord or on this YouTube. Somebody said, "Have you ever been offered a job at BP yet? If they're smart, they would." And then somebody said, "BP would never offer him a job." No, I've not been offered a job by BP. I have been offered a job by a lot of the pretty big pyrolysis companies out there, and I've turned it down because it was really apparent to me that it really wasn't. It wasn't just we're offering you a job. It's more of, hey, we're really trying to get our hands on what your research has done and see what we can do with it. That's kind of the issue. Um, LF Prez 389 on YouTube said, "Is your plastic just a cancer cocktail?" Well, LF Prez 389, I would say, maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that you're coming from a more negative approach just given how you're talking in the YouTube chat. So let me tell you what you can do. Click that link at the top of the YouTube chat that's pinned. Click that Discord link. Join the Discord server. I think you need to wait 10 minutes before you can come up here and get in here. And we can have a debate. You are able to have it. You can ask me right now. Not only can you ask me, is my plastic just a cancer cocktail? But then you can prove your point as to why you think it is, if you do think it is, if that's why you're saying that or asking that. It kind of is coming off. That's the vibe I'm getting. It's a little bit of a condescending question type of thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you don't want to get in here. But all I'm saying is you have the opportunity right now, tonight. Click that link, get in this Discord, and let's talk about it right now, because that's what this is all about today. Anybody with critical questions, anybody that wants to debate. Chris said, if you changed to Aroma Jab over Jabaroma, you would get a lot more traction. You know what's so funny, Chris? The name of Jabaroma when I first started was Aroma Jab. It was Aroma Jab. Literally, I bought the LLC, then I changed it again to Jabaroma because I liked Jabaroma better because it like kind of rolled off the tongue. What do you guys think? You guys like Jabaroma or Aroma Jab better? Because the original name of the company was Aroma Jab. Actually, I changed the name 3 times. It was Nature's Musk at first because I was trying to kind of play on Nature Jab. It would also kind of incorporate smell, so I said Nature's Musk, but then I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound so good, right? And then it was Aroma Jab, and then Jabaroma. So what do you guys think? I think Jabaroma's the best, but hey, you know, what do you guys think? All right, Dante had his hand up next. All right, we'll let Dante up.
Hello, Julian. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing, Dante?
Doing good, sir. Doing good. Happy to be chatting with you.
Hey, you
man.
as well. Thank you for making it up.
Of course, man. Of course. Well, shoot, I don't have anything too crazy, but I do have a few questions for you. Main thing, and I want to make sure I have this right. With Mark V here, you're going to be doing a lot of education. That's the main goal of Mark V here is education, getting it out to the masses, letting people understand, hey, this is not only possible, but this is what it looks like, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. No, just making sure I have that right. From what I've seen on Instagram and everything, that's what it seems the way this is going, right? And so I think that it may be it's awesome to get it out there to people, right? But listening to what you were just mentioning about once you've gotten this mobile setup kind of set and in front of people and everything, you're talking about parking it at a beach, parking it at these different places so that where the trash is, you go bring it, you just pop it into this machine. I only sit there and think to myself, not that this would be a major concern, at least with later generations, but I think back to the explosion that you had, and then I'm thinking about you're parking a bomb at the beach, and then you're driving around, you're bringing it to all these places, right? So it would almost maybe in my head be more efficient to bring them to to have a recycling bin and then to take the recycling from that to a standardized location. But I'd love your thoughts on that because I totally understand the appeal of having it there in front of people and like, hey, just throw your trash in right here. But at the same time, almost to what the safety engineer was mentioning is like safety wise, is that smart to then have it there, legally, or do you then have a whole bunch of concerns and potential lawsuits if some shit happens and all that fun stuff that you have to then deal about. And so just a little legitimate concern there because I think you could totally do an efficient distribution network of plastics because recycling is already happening here in America. The plastic's just not really going anywhere. The Chinese used to buy it all, but now it's just really sitting there, not really doing much. So I don't know.
That's a great concern, Dante, and thank you for asking that because that's something that I've thought about myself. A few years ago, my distiller blew up, and I was left with second-degree burns. And this machine is just like my current machine is going to be the machine and the distiller built into it. And so let me tell you how I'm going to address that. The machine in itself is not a bomb. The reason that it's not a bomb is because it's now, unlike how it was back then, now it's under vacuum, negative pressure, which is the opposite of a bomb. Because a bomb is when you have a whole bunch of pressure built up in a space where it needs to basically explode this container to then send out the stuff everywhere. What we have is we have flammable materials inside of this chamber that are under vacuum. And so what's going to be most important in this machine is that we have monitoring systems. The reason why I blew myself up was because, for one, the machine was not under vacuum. Not the machine, but the distiller was not under vacuum. And for two, it was building up pressure, and I did not have gauges to see that the pressure built up, and I went to open it, right? So because as it stands, every single part of the machine is meant to handle high pressure. Every single part of the distiller is meant to handle high pressure, meant to handle the type of flammable vapors and chemicals. It's meant for all that. It's designed and built for it. And the only reason I had that explosion is, once again, I did not have a freaking pressure gauge, which was so stupid of me, and I wasn't wearing the proper safety equipment. And so I think that one of just like how I was just speaking with you, dig that. One of the most important things with Mark V, especially now, with it being something like this, is over redundance in safety. You know, trash trucks, for example, when they come, they have the trash truck come to pick up your trash. Those actually risk exploding a lot too, because when they, you know, if people throw batteries in the trash, when that compactor comes down, it can explode the batteries. There's tons of videos you can find of those things catching on fire. So when it comes to mobile operations of waste management, this is a thing that you have to be conscious of. Because like I said, even in the normal trash industry, the explosions happen. And the good thing is, the biggest benefit I have of this machine is that it's under vacuum, because with it being under vacuum, it's under negative pressure. And that means that not only if we see any type of pressure rise, we're watching that and we have things in place where it'll turn off automatically, but then that also means that there's a large buffer zone, because before the machine can ever build up enough pressure to explode, it needs to break all of the negative pressure, all of the vacuum pressure first. And of course, there's going to be pressure relief valves, and there's going to be pressure relief systems in place to where if the pressure relief valve opens, all of those vapors that come out are going to get sent into a special vapor collection tank. And all these things are going to be thought through. We're even going to have fire suppression systems on the trailer for all the lithium ion batteries from the solar, because it's going to be over 100 kilowatt hours of lithium ion batteries. And so that's a great concern, and thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, perfectly for the most part. All I would say is then on Mark V, at least from the designs I've seen, do you plan to have it open air?
It's going to be open air. It's necessary, because in the event you have a leak, you gotta, if that thing is enclosed, that leak will cause an explosion.
Okay. No, cool. Yeah, no, and then that's kind of the secondary question on that. Wasn't sure if you plan on that. Man, that's all I've got for now.
All right. Hey, thank you. Great question there. More critical question. Thank you. Critical thinking behind that. Thank you, Dante.
Thank you.
All right. Somebody was saying in the YouTube chat, a vacuum can make an implosion, which is sometimes worse than an explosion. That's very true. Archive 667. The machine is not at risk of imploding. The reason why is because it's not under that high of a vacuum. The machine is not under complete vacuum. It's under partial vacuum. It's under, on average, about 14 inches of mercury. A complete vacuum is 28 inches of mercury. So an implosion is not an issue. And on top of that, the machine is made of thick steel. We have gaskets that are made to handle these conditions, all PTFE gaskets, tri-clamp. And then on top of that, the machine really can't implode, because I promise, far before an implosion, a gasket probably will fail, primarily on the rotating shaft. Or if not that, all of the waveguide gaskets that seal and separate them where the microwaves enter from vapors leaving, that probably will blow out far before the machine does. And that's one of the big advantages of the machine being out open to the air. In the event of a leak or some type of gasket blows, you're not going to build up vapors and then now the trailer blows up. It will, worse come to worse, get vented out to the air, which is not ideal, because we don't want to vent out or emit anything. But explosion or implosion are going to both be very unlikely. Distillation will still be the most dangerous step of the machine, but we're going to make sure that that is under vacuum, monitored with gauges, pressure relief valves, and also automatic systems to cut everything off if there's a risk of something going wrong, because that's very important for me to make sure that not only I stay safe, but everybody working on this machine stays safe, and everybody that potentially goes to see it operate stays safe. So I cannot see Ron. You guys in the YouTube chat are talking about Ron. Somebody in the chat named Ron that I guess is, I don't know, saying stuff. Hey, Ron, whoever you are, there's a link at the top of the YouTube chat. You click that link, join the Discord, and if you're saying, for example, I'm a fraud or something, you can come up here and share your piece, and you have the ability to have access to my entire platform to prove your point. And hey, maybe you can get me shut down, right? Thank you, hashtag Riki. Good to see you, man. And who else in the YouTube wants to be a moderator? Hey, Amulet moderator in the Discord. Good to see you. Thanks for making it in. I believe, who was first? VC or I think Wafer was first. So I'll let VC up again. Hey, VC was here last time. Shout out VC for making it out a second live topic. I don't know why I can't see the chat from Ron. That's weird on my end here. What's up, William? Good to see you.
Yeah, yes.
All right, Wayfarer, right? Wayfarer, how you doing?
Yes, I'm good. My name is Rudyard. I run Wayfarer Technologies. You're Julian, is that
Yes.
correct? I've been following your channel for a while. Do you know what a commercial and government entity is? Do you have a cage number?
No, I do not have a cage number.
Please accept my friend request so I can help you get one. There's a ton of money from the DOE.
Oh, you're talking like a
SAM.gov,
for example? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I've been since
that's something
2000.
I definitely need to do.
Absolutely. I can walk you through it. I've done it repeatedly since 2012. I've done it as an individual. I've gone through it a ton. Please let me talk more about this later. I would love to partner with you on getting this to the next level of commercialization.
All right. Well, thank you. I'll add you as a friend, and then you can send me a DM with further information. Thank you so much. Oh, I see.
Your work is crucial. Absolutely. And I guarantee you there's going to be government standards that cover this device that you're going to have to adhere to. There's going to be some kind of code, there's going to be safety regulations, and that's what I do as federal compliance. Okay. So, yes, keep in touch. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. All right. Great. You said next time you're in Fort Lauderdale, you gotta link up, inspiring growth. Thank you, Cap Life. And Chris Corbin, you want to be a moderator? Yeah, I can't see Ron at all, whoever. But hey, it doesn't matter, because if he's really in the chat just talking a whole bunch of shit, you can just come up here in the Discord. You know, that's literally the whole point of today. That's why I don't get, whenever I do these, there's always people in the YouTube chat that will sit there and continue to just talk. And I'm like, guys, I've literally dedicated at least 2 hours and an entire Discord server specifically for you guys. And you don't come up here and you're still typing instead. You don't get it. Let's see. I have a little Q&A questions on YouTube. Let's see if anybody typed a question. I don't know how it looks on your guys' end on YouTube, but you can also type in questions on the YouTube chat as well, I think. And then it should come through. I can see it. I'll answer some of those every now and then. So, all right, VC, you're up. Hello.
Can you hear me? Awesome. Love to see you again. I love you, man.
Thank you, man. I love you as well. Thank you for making it back up.
Hell yeah. I just wanted to ask if you had considered patenting.
Yes, I have considered patenting, and I went down the entire rabbit hole and ultimately decided that I won't be doing it.
I see. I was thinking of making my own patent recently regarding electromagnetic capture technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been done before, but something that works for everybody, that's like high voltage and high current would be ideal, and I've been cooking on that for a little bit.
So here's the thing. Especially if you're in my position where, like, okay, so obviously I did not invent pyrolysis. I did not invent microwave pyrolysis. And according to what you said, you're not invent exactly what you're doing. You're more of innovating in the field. I
was thinking the same thing. That's awesome that you mentioned that, because I was wondering, like, did you invent that?
No, I didn't.
It's okay. You're still like my favorite person.
Yeah, I didn't invent microwave pyrolysis. Now, I did invent the world's first solar continuous microwave pyrolysis reactor, which is it is an invention in the definition of inventing, but it more of is an innovation in the field of, like, I did not find out how to do microwave pyrolysis or that it was possible. I did find out that it's possible to do it with solar panels and continuously, right? I was the first to do all those specific things put together and under vacuum as well. But with that being said, I would actually advise you, if you're doing something, everybody's different. So don't take this as advice. Everybody's position is different. But if you're in a position where you want to have a technology and you are innovating in the field and you don't want to have investors basically be at their mercy because you're going to need like millions of dollars, I don't recommend going after a patent. Here's why. Patents are very expensive. You have to renew them. You have to keep up with them. And when you patent something, it becomes public information. Anybody in the world can look up your patent and see how you made what you made.
Perfect.
And then just copy it, make a few
Perfect.
changes, and then make what you made. And then you need to go to court to deal with and fight them to prove that they infringed on your patent, which will cost you even more money and even more time. And that's only if they're in a country that even enforces patent laws. China does not. So you probably will have somebody from China just look up your patent online and then copy it. And here's the thing, it's going to cost you money that could have gone towards your innovation and time that could have gone towards your innovation, all for this thing that is supposed to protect you that really doesn't. And the real best way to protect your technology is, if you have a specific way that you do it, keep trade secrets. There are parts of my machine that are crucial to its operation that nobody knows and nobody has ever known and nobody will know until I put out my book with the blueprints. And that's how it is, and that's more secure than a patent.
I think in terms of electricity, though, right now, what the world needs is some sort of clean energy generation that is able to be retrofitted to our energy grid, and that's exactly what I can do. You know, I'm just thinking for these AI data centers that are wrecking our shit right now. It'd be wonderful if some things, you know, like insulin remain cheap and available.
I agree, and you don't need a patent to do that. You can just get it out there. If what you're working on is good, people will get behind it, patent or not, just because it works, it's genuine, it's good. I'm just saying, a patent is super expensive and it doesn't even truly protect you like that. It costs a ton of money, and the only route to really go down the patent route is if you have investors that you basically have to suck up to, because they need to be the ones to fund you to afford the patent and to continue to research your technology. But it's almost impossible for an individual that doesn't already have a ton of money to afford a patent, plus enforcing the patent, plus continuing to do your research. It's a lot of money. But like I said, I'm
Hopefully
just
I'll have a
telling
ton
you
of
what
money,
I
man.
did. I'm not saying
Hopefully.
don't do it. I'm just saying that's why I didn't do it. I'm not here to tell you that's not the route you should go down. Every technology is different, but with this type of technology, it did make sense.
Thank you, man. You're very enlightening. You're a gift from the gods, really. And I don't want to take too much of your
Hey,
time.
thank you so much, and I'm glad I could help in any type of way. Thank you, man. Good to talk to you again. So yeah, guys, that was my issue with the patents. It just didn't make sense. It just did not make sense. And of course, my family, you know, because that's what we're taught. You have something patented. Well, let me tell you, why, if patents were really the way in the sauce, why didn't one of the biggest companies in the world, Coca-Cola, why didn't they patent the Coca-Cola formula? Because if you patent it, it's public information to everybody forever, and you can never undo that. And it's so much more secure to have a secret. It's a business. The patent industry is a business, unlike every business. It's not here to sell you the cure. It's here to sell you to fix the symptoms. Okay? And I've heard so many stories from other inventors and other people that have gone down the route through patents, and I've heard a ton that it's not just what we think it is, where you just get the patent and you're fine and you don't have to worry about anybody stealing your stuff. They will still steal your stuff, and you have to then go fight them in court forever to try to prove why they did steal your thing, and then now you're out so much money and so much time, when let's be real, if you're an inventor, the best thing that your money and time should be going towards is inventing and not fighting people and proving why they stole it. That's my opinion. That's my experience. I'm not saying don't do a patent. I'm just saying that's why I didn't do a patent, and why I won't do a patent, and why I actually would literally rather stay open source and just give everybody the formula in my book that I'm making. I literally would rather just give it all to you than to spend $100,000 just to patent it, just for it to get out there anyway. You know, what's the difference? Somebody said, I don't know what happened to it, but I saw the comment when this guy was talking, and it was funny. He said something about like his mom is a salami cutter, and if I ever need salami, I'll reach out. You said like your mom has been cutting salami for 50 years. It was just such a random and funny comment in the YouTube. Let me see if anybody typed a question in this little Q&A. Can you guys even see it in YouTube? It says like a Q&A thing at the top. Can you guys see that at all? It says like type your questions. I've never tried it before. Hold on. I got some type of notification. Oh, here we go. This is what I need to do. All right, so next person up, Hex.
Woo.
Hey, Hex.
Where's that camera button?
Hold on.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm actually inside of a bus right now.
Oh yeah, you are inside of a little bunk there. It looks like a little blanket fort or something. Looks cozy.
Yeah. I mean, I got this hanging up to stop the provide an air gap between the windows and for insulation. But anyways, I got a script right here. I'm gonna start with a bit of context and setup for question 1A. Then after you finish your answer, I'll add a different quiz for question A2, which will provide setups for A3 and A4.
Great.
Regarding the plastic water you get during the distillation process of plastic crude down into fractions, you've already shown that you collect the water until it can start to gravity separate, at which point you skim the oils off the top and drain the greases from the bottom, water from the middle to put it in a second stage of collection and gravity separation. If I'm remembering correctly from some of your less recent videos?
Yes, that's correct. So for those of you that don't know, one of the byproducts of the machine is water as well. So when I make the plastic crude oil, there's about like half of it is literally water. So plastic, I also turn plastic into water, and so I do separate that out from the final fuel product. So there's no water in the fuel.
Let's say, hypothetically, you put the plastic water through enough hot summer vacuum separations and cold winter centrifugal force assisted gravity separations until 100% of all contaminants are the same molecular weight and size as H2O, same boiling and freezing points as H2O, same evaporation temperature and atmospheric vacuum pressure as H2O, etc. For the sake of conversation, let's say that 2 years of filtering is enough to reach this point of hypothetically perfect plastic water. Question A1 is, how would you dispose of it, both after reaching that hypothetical point for land-based operations and before that point for boats on the ocean?
So the water product is actually, I have a sample that I'm about to send to a water lab now, so we figure out the contaminants within it. Because that's the first step to figure out what's in it. I'll tell you immediately, 9 out of 10 times, most of all contaminants in that water can be completely handled through activated carbon and then distillation of the water 9 out of 10 times. Now we'll figure out. I can only say that off of guessing, off of some research papers I've read, but that's the first step. I have literally the biggest water filtration plant in my area that does my county's water is going to take a sample of my water to figure out exactly what's in it, all the heavy metals, all the oils, and that'll be the perfect baseline to figure out. Because ultimately, I want to be able to get this water so clean that it could just be poured, on the ground. It's literally just water, just potable water at that point, or maybe non-potable water. It could just be like poured into plants or something.
Yeah. But staying with the distillation byproducts for setting up question A2, in one of your videos where you were allowed into one of the labs that tested your plastic fuel, I forget if the video was plastic diesel
It was
or
diesel.
plastiline, there was a waxy glue-like mix of contaminants left in the beaker which got washed away with acetone. If I'm remembering correctly, you may have mentioned it before at that point in one of your distillation videos as being something that you just throw back into the main pyrolysis reactor to try and crack the chains down further. But I assume there's also some compounds that just refuse to break within the operating conditions that you see as safe. For the sake of conversation, let's say that you and a dozen pyrolysis rigs owned by members in your community collect enough of that concentrated waxy gunk to fill a 55-gallon drum. Question A2 is, how many runs through the main pyrolysis reactor do you think it would take for that 55-gallon barrel of plastic gunk to get fully cracked and reduced down to only a cup or two of solid matter?
Great question. So when I make plastic diesel, everybody, one of the other byproducts that comes over at the same time the diesel does is this wax. It is a diesel wax. If it's melted, it literally behaves just like diesel, but it will wax up at a pretty low temperature. This is also a problem with diesel as well. That's the difference between diesel and jet fuel. Jet fuel has additives and comes over at a temperature in which, when it's up in the sky at the low temperatures, it won't wax up. That's why we have to have winter diesel. So the diesel that you get like in the summer in Texas, if you take that same diesel and go to Alaska, somewhere where it gets really cold, your whole entire fuel tank will probably wax up. So when I get that wax product, what I usually do is just run it back through my machine. His question is, if I were to have a 55-gallon drum of this wax, how many runs through the machine would it take for all that wax to be destroyed? The answer is one run through the machine. The reason why is because the machine is operating off of pyrolysis, which is destructive distillation, which means the entire machine is tailored to destroy long chain and heavy hydrocarbons. That's exactly what plastic is. And so this wax is actually easier to break down and closer to oil and gas than plastic is. So one run will completely crack it all. Now, how long that run would take, that will be dependent upon some other factors. And I couldn't say that because I've never run this wax through the machine. And I don't know how microbes absorb into it or whatever. But in one complete run, it would all be cracked into either natural gas or shorter chain hydrocarbons such as gasoline.
With questions A1 and A2 being byproducts of the plastic pyrolysis and distillation process, I now want to take a moment and look at one usable byproduct from setting up and maintaining a pyrolysis station. Like, question A3 is less of a question, but more of me trying to connect some dots. Like, on one of your videos showing plastiline working in a hedge trimmer or a weed whacker or whatever you want to call that garden tool, you're mowing down the fields of grass to either lay out your solar field the next week or maybe just keep the grass from blocking the sun. I forget exactly, but I left a joke comment asking if you'd toss that plant matter into a wood gasifier to run a generator or power the plastic pyrolysis or something like that. But that is still a valid topic to question and consider when setting up a plastic to fuel rig in remote locations. Some places will need trees or bushes chopped down for a minimum safe distance around the facility in case of accidents, as well as maintenance to make sure that there's no plants springing up through the cracks in the foundation. And because wood gasifiers were used for a bit in World War II, and we're mostly interested in the far more modern and efficient designs which use some sort of fluid drip to help regulate temperature of volatile gases, as well as adding some lubrication, there's already a community we can reach out to for suggestions about which designs would be the best starting point for testing a variety of experimental fluid drips. For example, raw plaster water on its own versus drinking water to see if the contaminants are mostly fuel components or mostly flame suppressant chemicals. If it is a lot of fuel components within the plaster water, then a second round to test cooking oils and motor oils versus plaster water laced with that heavier dissolved plastic gunk and a bit of acetone. Like the fastest and laziest fluid drip gasifier I saw was just one big ammo can, drill some holes, put some fittings, basically done. My hypothesis is like cooking oils and motor oils act almost like nitrous oxide if it were instead nitrous propane, where and that the fuel contaminated waters might be the same thing, where the incombustible moisture content acts like the nitrogen, slowing down or smoothing out the burn, while the fuel content is just a bad replacement for the oxygen accelerant. I guess question A3 is, what are your thoughts about the possibility of collaboration between two technologies? Perhaps a way of skipping the resource-intensive refiltering and repyrolyzing to directly utilize the three kinds of waste as components of fuel in a different kind of power generation.
So to answer that, I think the issue would be that it would be such a hassle to gather so much of these byproducts. Like the amount of oil in the water. I mean, eventually you'll get so much, but I just feel like it would be so much more simple to just like because not only do you, when you're utilizing these type of things for fuel, do you have to of course develop some type of system that can get the energy out of them, but it needs to be compliant. You can't just burn anything. It needs to burn relatively clean and stuff. And so I think for all that hassle, it's so much simpler to just, for example, you have this machine that can process any hydrocarbon, just throw it back in the machine and get products that we know are decent and know work well in modern engines as is. And once I get the emissions test, we'll know burn fine and have fine emissions out of a modern engine with the catalytic converter as is. Now that gasifier question was an interesting one, and I do like that in theory. Now in practice, I think that it would be pretty much impossible in most situations, just because the amount of like brush that you would need or what you need to power the machine. You need so much that you're gonna have to have such a big gasifier that it wouldn't be able to fit on the same trailer if we're talking about like the Mark V machine. Now let's say you had a huge stationary gasifier and a huge stationary machine. Yes, you sure can power the machine runs off of electricity, so you can power the machine off of anything that can make electricity. And that's one of the biggest advantages. You could literally power the reactor off of a nuclear reactor. That's one of the biggest advantages of the microwaves versus traditional pyrolysis.
Sort of, I mean, like still on the topic of wood gasifiers, I've seen people turn like any random newspaper they get, just random lawnmower trimmings to run just little tiny little like forget exactly what size of liter, but the engine is the size of like a little push mower,
Yeah.
tiny little generator, just to add supplementary power in the case of like cloudy days, you know. But moving on to tie everything together with A4, we got to look forwards a few years to when the boat is already built and sets out on its first voyage. You'll need to look into some sort of fuel polishing setup to separate water from diesel and the water from gasoline when you're out there, because you really don't want a fuel bug to start growing inside your engine and leave you stranded. Combine that with how waterlogged ocean plastic is compared against land plastics, you'll be dealing with way, way more contaminated water than you already are on land. From when I was looking into setting up a portable fuel polishing tank to clean up my bus and my gutted van trailers fuel tanks, I remember seeing people in both the boating communities and the diesel truck communities talking about Racor fuel water filters, RACOR. So I'd suggest you look into similar turbine styles of centrifugal force water fuel separators and get one for your diesel bus first to learn how they work over the next year or two before putting like 3 or 4 on the boat, depending on the number of fuel tanks and number of engines, you know? And then at the same time, there's going to be, like, at the same time as that increased water contamination problem, there's going to be some food packaging that comes with you onto the ocean that won't be the best feedstock for plastic pyrolysis machine. Like the paper of oatmeal, paper of the De La Rosa peanut candies, paper of cardboard of so on and so forth. Like in that situation, like if the test results from the water turn out to be positive and results to like the amount of fuel content usable within it, do you think like a little teeny tiny wood gasifier that you could just push in a shopping cart to fuel a little tiny generator in that same shopping cart might be worth taking on the boat as a trash disposal and a little bit of supplementary power?
So, to answer your question, first of all, Amor para Portugal, R. Louis on YouTube. But yeah, to answer your question, I think that first of all, the machine is already tailored to set up or to gladly handle plastic with paper on it, plastic with food on it, plastic with algae, with seaweed, with fish on it, plastic with, salt water. It's already set up for that. In terms of your suggestions for that water filter system, the water turbine filter systems and separators, thank you. And I completely am with you on that. And that's a part of why I'm doing it on the trailer first. To set up, trying to figure out this stuff on a small scale first. So that way, when it is on the boat, it's so much easier. And while I'm not opposed to having a gasifier as a backup, especially, the issue with a gasifier is that a gasifier is going to introduce oxygen into the environment in which you're using the gasifier, which then now brings an issue with emissions because if you don't have complete combustion, which is impossible with a gasifier at all times, even cardboard with polymer paints on it is gonna make dioxins and all types of crazy things that are going to be uncontrolled. That's the biggest advantage of this machine, especially with it being under vacuum. No matter what the heck we put in that machine, whatever the heck it turns into is controlled, and we can decide, hey, if this water is contaminated with this crazy chemical from this thing put in the machine, let's say it's PVC, this water is contaminated with chlorine, well, at least this chlorine contaminated water is in this container that we control. It's not just being emitted into the air, it's not just being dumped off. We have absolute control over it, and a gasifier does not give you that control, kind of similar to an incinerator. And so that could become an issue, and that's why I think the machine will be great in conjunction with solar panels and batteries on the boat, because the boat will have the access to run off of the solar and batteries. And if it doesn't work with those, then we're having the fuel made from the machine as a backup for that. So you have electric generation and then standard fuel generation.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, that's pretty much all I really got.
All right.
Other than remote locations would find it more usable. Places where they get an excess of wooden and paper, cardboard trash piling up. Those situations might find a gasifier more effective as supplementary to charge batteries.
Yeah. And we're gonna really, there's some things that we would never know until this is done, until that trailer build is done, Mark V is done, and then I figure out these issues that pop up. But I really thank you for those critical questions, especially with the water product. In fact, you're the first person who's ever came up here and asked about the water product. Most people don't know that I literally make water from plastic waste as well. So that means that you've been paying attention, you've been watching a while. So thank you for your support and thank you for your critical questions.
Plus,
I look forward to speaking with you again.
How many people are in the community? I assume many of them have diesel trucks, and someone must know about diesel bug in this community. I'm surprised nobody mentioned that yet.
Yeah. And thank you for your questions. They are great questions. I gotta let the next person up, man. But thank you. And I look forward to you coming up again with other questions. And I hope you stay cozy in your blanket fort there. Yeah. Hey, por supuesto, Arluer. Por supuesto, un placer conocerte. All right, we saw Amar is next. Let's see anybody in the YouTube chat. You guys been saying before I let Amar up. You said salute, Julian. Thank you. Hey, if you guys in the YouTube chat could like the live stream, I greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that for sure. All right, Amar, you're up on Discord. You said that kid was intelligent. Yeah, he was. He was. Great questions. Hey, super great questions. Super great understanding of everything I'm doing. I love that type of stuff. Of course, we set these days up for debates, but hey, it's called critical conversations too, because we're critically thinking, asking questions about real applications and implications of things. Amar, welcome up. It says your mic is muted. Hey, Pablo. Hola, Pablo Hernandez on YouTube. ¿Cómo te sienten hoy? ¿Cómo se sientes hoy? ¿Cómo te sientes hoy? Amar, your mic is still muted. I'm not sure if you're able to fix that. I'll give you a little bit, and if you can't fix it, I'll get the next person up, and then you'll be able to raise your hand again, and I'll let you up next time. Somebody in the YouTube chat, do21437 said, unfiltered. I can't see it. Hold on. He said unfiltered pyrolysis products contain high levels of benzene, which poses a severe risk health because the engine's exhaust will release concentrated group 1 carcinogens into the air you breathe. So to answer your concern there, due to, first of all, you can click on the link at the top of the chat and come join the Discord server, and we can have a little debate, or even if you just have a critical question, it doesn't have to be a debate if that's a little bit intimidating. But to answer your question, it does kind of sound like that came off of like an AI, to be honest with you. But here's the thing. For one, my pyrolysis product is not unfiltered. It is refined after I get my pyrolysis crude oil, which I agree with you. The pyrolysis crude oil certainly is dirty stuff. It is then fractionally distilled into plastoline. The plastodiesel and plastojet fuel are way too high of boiling points to have any type of benzene contamination. But if, let's say, the plastoline does have benzene in it, just because you have benzene in the fuel does not mean the exhaust of the engine will have benzene, for one, because benzene is a hydrocarbon that can be burned and under combustion will release CO2 and water vapor. Yes, benzene on its own is carcinogenic, but once it's burned under combustion, CO2 and water vapor are not carcinogenic compounds. Benzene is actually far more of a risk when it's in the form of a vapor to you than when it is in an engine. Because if you have a modern engine, especially with plastoline having a high octane, and as we saw, making blue flames out of the exhaust, which represents a pretty thorough combustion process, even if there was benzene in this plastoline, 9 out of 10 times, most of that benzene is being completely burned away and turned into CO2 and water vapor. And that's only if there's a high concentration of it to begin with. So that's my answer to that. But if you have a further question, you can come up in here in the Discord. Amar, I'm not sure if you were able to get your mic working, but I'm going to let Esther123 up instead. If you get your mic working, Amar, you are more than... Oh, he left the thing completely. All right. Esther. Hello. Hello, Esther123. Are you here? All right. Same issue twice. Mic. Oh, I see you're trying. Yeah, your mic is not activated. I don't know if you're on the computer or the phone, but you need to, if your mic isn't working, try to go into the settings and see that, see if you can fix your settings. Obrigado. Hey, gracias. Obrigado. Igualmente, amigo. You said, I'm from the other stream. I called in. Yo estoy bien. ¿Y tú cómo estás? He estado muy agotado y he estado muy ocupado todos los días. Pero estoy, how do you say grateful? Agradecido. Pero I am always grateful. Regardless. I've been seeing you since you were able to run the Think. Oh, from the Thing from the Garden? Oh, really, man? You're an OG. Thank you. Thank you, our lawyer. You've been watching me since I've literally been in my parents' backyard. So you've been watching me for at least 4 years. Thank you so much. Oh, man, that's crazy. You said benzene does not combust in an engine. It needs to reach under 3,000 degrees C. Oh, my goodness. I don't know where you got that information from. But I promise you that benzene does not combust, does not need to be 3,000 degrees centigrade to combust. Benzene is just a hydrocarbon, just like how anything else in gasoline or diesel is. And if benzene took 3,000 degrees centigrade, which is literally above the melting point of any metal on Earth, if it took that high of a melting of a point just to combust, I promise you, I would not be able to get the benzene and extract it from the plastic to begin with in the machine, because you have to understand how the machine works. It works as a distiller, which means that in order for the benzene to even make its way over into the liquid products of the machine, it needs to be cracked out of the plastic, meaning that the microwaves of the machine are heating up the benzene within the plastic to a point where it becomes a vapor and then condenses into a liquid. And I promise you, those microwaves are not hitting 3,000 degrees Celsius, which is over 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I promise you. I don't know where you got that info from. I thought you got the first info from ChatGPT. Maybe you did, because I don't know who the heck told you. Maybe you put an extra zero, because 300C sounds more reasonable, but even that is too high for benzene. Because I know for a fact, because benzene comes over at a similar boiling point range as gasoline. That's why gasoline has some benzene in it. So benzene's combustion point is actually 100 degrees C or below. Yeah, he said 1700 C. Man, you're talking about some type of metal. Benzene, there's no hydrocarbon that combusts that high. Not a single one. It's just hydrogen and carbon. All right, SB5149. Your mic is muted. There you go.
I have a quick
question. Sure thing.
So I did research and I found out that atoms vibrate at like I think 3,000 times a second. So I want to know, like, can you like heat like particles up on a quantum level by vibrating atoms near relativistic speeds? Because if they vibrate too fast at light speed, then it'll just turn into
Well,
energy.
the first thing is which atoms. There's a lot of different types of atoms.
No, I'm talking about like the atomic vibration of
I
atoms,
understand
like
what you're
atoms
saying,
vibrating.
but like, are we talking about? Okay, are we talking about the base atoms that make everything, or are we talking about the atoms of specific things, like the atomic structure of gold versus the atomic structure of copper? Or because, you know what I'm saying, there could be differences in given what the product is, or the atoms are making up this product because of the crystalline structure.
No, I'm talking about atoms that make up the entire, like all the structures of
Okay.
matter and
So
stuff.
the most pinpoint base atoms. Okay. So I'm not as versed in this as you are, but if what you're saying is true, I think you're talking about what heat is, and heat is all, you know, when these atoms are vibrating and moving back and forth, they're creating heat. That's what heat is, right? Essentially.
Right. It's like basically atoms that's like on a quantum. It's basically quantum level interactions. So like you imagine like if you vibrate atoms, like because usually atoms like the human body, our atoms vibrate. You know what I'm saying at a specific speed, like a few thousand times a second, which allows us to do things. And I know that some people atoms are able to vibrate faster than some others, which is why they're able to perform
I
better. But I wanted to know like what happens if we're able to vibrate, if what happens if you vibrate atoms at relativistic speeds. That's like a form of heating an atom. That's a form of heating on a
Well,
quantum level.
here's the thing. When you have atoms that are in a specific structure, that's when you have a particle, or maybe not a particle. Maybe that's not the term. You have an atomic structure. So like when I'm taking hydrocarbons, hydrogen. So like, look, atoms in a certain configuration, vibrating a certain way, make different things. So make different elements. So that's what hydrogen is. That's atoms in a certain configuration. That's what carbon is. Atoms in a certain configuration. You put hydrogen and carbon together, now you get hydrocarbon. That's a certain configuration. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, because you're essentially just talking about the makeup of everything that we have, which is just the atomic. You know, everything is the basics of an atomic structure, and that's why we have different elements. You know, and I mean, I understand. You know, there's some more theoretical science in the sense of, I guess maybe you're referring to different type of frequencies. Like, what exactly are you asking?
So I'm asking basically like if you vibrate atoms at like a specific, like I'm basically talking about how matter could be a form of energy. matter itself could be a form of energy. And I'm saying if you vibrate atoms fast enough, they could become energetic matter and then eventually
But
turn
that
into
literally is
energy
what
if they reach
energy
the
is.
speed of light.
Energy is atoms moving. Atoms already are a form of energy. That's what electricity is. It already is just atoms moving. Electrons, energy, electricity is literally just electrons moving back and forth, positive and negatively charged electrons and ions moving back and forth. That's all electricity and energy already is. So that's why I'm confused by what you're asking, because you're basically saying, oh, right now, is it possible to just create energy like we already do and already have been? Because that's what things already are.
Yeah, like basically turn like matter, like solid matter, like any form of matter into energy.
I mean, yeah, it's called burning something, or putting it into a pyrolysis machine, and you're extracting the energy from the chemical and atomic makeup of something by liberating it with heat or oxidative energy.
Okay, I thank you for answering my question, but I have
All
one more
right.
question. Okay, so like if you were to vibrate atoms back and forth at relativistic speeds, like near the speed of light, and create some type of energetic matter, what would that look like? What would the properties of that look like?
I think that literally would be light. If you're vibrating atoms at the speed of light, that's light. And then what it would look like is light, because light is a
No, I'm
release
not
of
saying
energy.
at no, I'm not saying at the speed of light. I'm saying near the speed of light. So it's like near it, but not necessarily at it, but it's near it to the point where
I'll be
it
honest,
it
I don't know.
vibrates and it becomes a whole
I don't
energetic.
know. I don't
Uh,
know about that. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a chemist either, but I'm far more informed in chemistry because of my work. You're asking, these are questions for a physicist and a quantum physicist. I don't know, but I'll tell you now that these are the basic makeups of everything. But thank you for your questions. I'll get on to the next person here.
Thank
Yeah,
you. I
for sure. I
appreciate you for
appreciate
your
you.
time.
Um, you said, and I really think about the plastic and gasoline, and I follow to see if it's true because a lot of things are fake. But you are real, and I understood you right away. You're genuine and honest. And plastic to gasoline is crazy. And I love to think like this, and your content is very good and genuine. Fight for the better good, and I'm on the same boat. Thank you so much for the supportive words. And yeah, that's the thing. Look, I get why people think my stuff could be fake. I get why people think I'm a grifter or a scammer because, hey, you shouldn't be surprised if it's hard for people to believe what you're doing if you're doing something that's beyond belief. And not only is it crazy to turn this thing that they tried to convince us has no use into something useful, right? Something super useful, but then to say you're self-taught, started at 17 years old, and you're doing it. I get it. And that's why I don't try to bother proving to people why I'm real. I just show you. Okay, I blew myself up. I'm still at it. Okay, I have crazy cyber attacks happen to me. Helicopters circle me out there. I'm still at it. Okay, I've been doing it for 5 years, funded by myself, funded by people, funded by nothing but my own faith. I'm still at it, just staying consistent at it. I know there's so much fake stuff on the internet nowadays, and I try to be one of the real ones in everything I do, whether that's plastic to fuel or even the things I say. I really try my best with all those things, but at the end of the day, you just gotta see for yourself, if it's real. Hey, and you said you've been watching me for 4 years, and you'll notice in 4 years that my character and what I do and how my approach has been consistent. Because at the end of the day, I'm here for the solution, and that's just the genuine truth. And I know that there could be a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different ways people can see things, but that's just how it is for me. I'm really here to make the impact. William said, "Can you handle e-waste?" Yes, I can handle e-waste. I definitely can. Esther, I'll let you up. Let's see if your mic is working this time. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me
Yes,
now?
I can hear you, Esther.
Oh, thank you so much. So frustrating. I was trying to unmute and it was not working on my phone.
Yes, you got it working
So,
now, which is great.
um, thank you. First of all, I just want to appreciate your work and your commitment to the work to make sure that we make the world a better place for not only us but even for the next generation. Your consistency is really admirable. 5 years is not it's not a joke to be doing this for 5 years and getting all sorts of crazy insults and crazy theories from other people who don't believe in what you're doing. So mine is just simple. I just have two questions. So I'm new to this paralysis thing. I'm still trying to study on it and understand it. But where I'm hitting a roadblock, and I just wanted to understand it from your perspective. I wanted to understand on the distillation process. After you've burnt the plastics and you're getting the different byproducts, how does the process of distillation look like? What does it involve, and what makes it so successful?
Okay. Great question, and thank you for the supportive words. I really do appreciate it, and it really means a lot. Um, and to answer your question, first of all, uh, since I'm doing pyrolysis, I'm not burning the plastic. To burn something means that there's a fire, and that means that there's oxygen and air present. Pyrolysis is done without oxygen and without air, so there's no fire, there's no flame, there's no smoke. Instead, what's happening is the microwaves are breaking down plastic into their base chemical form into the vapor, so it essentially returns it into a crude oil vapor, and that crude oil vapor is then condensed into uh, plastic crude oil, right? And so now we need to distill the plastic crude oil to then make plastiline, plastodiesel, plastojet fuel. So how the distillation works currently is my machine has a vacuum distiller built into it, meaning um, the same area where the plastic crude oil is formed, it goes into a keg right from the machine, and now from that keg it can be refined right there. So I use the natural gas byproduct, which is made from the machine. That's one of the last byproducts. So I told you we get the vapor. The plastic turns into crude oil vapor. That crude oil vapor is condensed into the plastic crude oil. Now there's some vapor that never gets condensed back into oil, and that vapor is plumbed and compressed into natural gas tanks, and it basically becomes natural gas. And that natural gas now heats the distiller. And how the distiller works is through fractional distillation, which is when you heat up uh, the temperature of the crude oil to certain temperatures to get certain products to come over at different fractions. So, for example, gasoline, you want to heat it up to about 100 degrees C or about 212 Fahrenheit, around the same boiling point as water. Then you get all the gasoline out at that temperature. So, what ends up happening is at around 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 C, all of the gasoline in that crude oil is boiling and becoming a vapor. And that vapor, just like the machine, then goes up and condenses into the gasoline. And then we heat it up again once all the gasoline vapors are out. We heat it up again to about, I believe it's about 250 degrees. No, it's higher than that. It's 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about, that's 140 degrees Celsius. You heat it up again to around that temperature, much hotter. And now at that temperature, that much hotter temperature, now you're going to get out around the jet fuel, and then the diesel come out around the same temperature. Diesel is a little bit higher. Diesel is about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is closer to 200 degrees Celsius. And so you separate out these different products, and you know which product you're getting because of the different temperatures it takes to get them out. And that's how the fractional distillation works. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's actually very helpful. I also wanted to know how much did the first paralyzer cost you, Mark 4.5, and How much are you projecting for Mark 5?
So the first machine I ever made was Mark One, and I made it for probably a total of like $500. I made it out of all scraps, and it was a very small machine. Mark 4.5, the one that you're referring to, the one you see online now, that machine has been built over the past year. That machine at this point has probably cost about $80,000 total if you include all of the solar things as well for that machine. And Mark 5 is if you include the bus, the trailer, and everything inside of all of these things. I'm assuming Mark 5 is going to come close to about $100,000 total for the bus, the trailer, the solar panels. A lot of things are being bought used to be the most economical. Thank you for your questions. I do need to get on to the next people, but I appreciate all your support, and those were great questions. Thank you so much. All right, let's check out the YouTube chat, and then we'll let up Luke. Uh, let's see. You said I saw a helicopter once, and then his Instagram got hacked, and is convinced the government is out to get him. So invites randos to visit him, and is planning on going on a grift tour to meet his fans. Genius. Hey, 333. Guess what? In the YouTube chat, we have a link pinned at the top. And if you believe I'm a grifter, and if you believe that I'm being paranoid, or maybe helicopters didn't come out, whatever you want to prove, I am giving you the opportunity to embarrass me up in front of. Right now we have 25 people in the Discord. We have 100 people on YouTube. And plus, I'm gonna post the clips after. So you have the ability right now to have access to my entire platform and prove to everybody how much of a grifter I am, how wrong I am, and how right you are. Click that link at the top of the YouTube chat. Get in this Discord, and let's talk. Let's do it. Don't just type it. Because look, if you're typing it in YouTube, you're limiting to a little bit of people to see your point. But if what you're saying is so true, come on here, just like these other people have. We'll talk about it, and you can prove your point. We'll go back and forth in a civil and respectful debate, and we'll figure out. You have the opportunity to absolutely expose me to everybody and embarrass me, but please join. Uh, so anyway, let's let Luke up.
Hello, hello, hello,
Hey,
hello.
Luke, welcome.
Um, I just wanted to say I admire your work.
Thank you.
But um, have you ever thought I mean, how much carbon black is being emitted from the machine? That's my
So
question.
it's about like I'd say 5% or less. So that means like for every 100 pounds of plastic, I might get 5 or 10 pounds out. It's between 5 and 10%, and it is dependent upon the operating machine conditions of the machine, like how consistent it's operating and how hot it is when it's operating.
Okay, okay. Have you ever thought of incorporating AI to manage the pipes, the valves, and all other sorts of materials that are in the
I
machine?
have, and to be honest, after I went through my cyber attack, this very extensive cyber attack I went through last summer, where I had hackers get into my iCloud and literally had access to my entire phone, including the mic and the camera and all my text and phone logs and everything. I decided that it probably would be better if the machine, unlike everything else in the world nowadays, actually is more mechanical and analog than Wi-Fi based, because that's a huge weak point for because it could be the machine works great, but a hacker can get in and make it somehow explode, right? And it's just like I don't want to risk that.
That's I did try. I mean, you probably don't remember me, but I did try to reach you on LinkedIn. But um, it's an honor to meet you at first. But I am also working on something called Nexoforge, and it's basically a pyrolysis based machine. Um, which I'm gonna be starting off with small amounts of mechanical stuff. I don't have any experience in chemical um, the chemical area, but I'm gonna try my best to see. It's just a learning progress. But I mean, if it would be cool if we could like connect or something. If this is the only way that I can reach you, that would be totally fine. But I did reach out to you on LinkedIn and other platforms, but um, be, because I really admire your stuff. And I'm also going to a innovation lab to present my project um, at GVSU. But that there's a um, I had a brain fart. Um,
Well, I'll tell you. Do send me an email. I'll be real with you. I barely check my LinkedIn, man. I there's LinkedIn is those
yeah,
messages. Like anybody that I connect with sends a message, and I have like 1,000 connects, so I have like 1,000 messages on there, and I just got overwhelmed one day and I
oh yeah.
stopped
I know
checking
you're a
them.
busy man. Yeah, I know you're super busy, entrepreneur. But yeah, I'll try reaching out again. Hopefully you
Yeah.
get it. But it was a
Hey,
pleasure meeting
thank you.
you. Um, yeah.
Hey,
You
man,
take care,
you as
man.
well, and thank you for your support and your question.
Yeah.
All right, Savage will be the last person up tonight in the Discord debate. It was really more of a Q&A, which is okay. You know, hey, we had some critical questions today, some critical thinking questions, deep thinking questions, and that's what this is all about. You said you're at the pharmacy. Oh, okay, I see. Savage. We'll let one person up. Who's gonna be the last person for the night? Um, last time the last person was the person who wanted to debate. His name was like Fish or something. Uh, I see Quan Francis. Uh, is going to be the last person for the night. Somebody said so. If he wants to jump on a helicopter, go to Area 51. Man, I remember like when that helicopter. I almost didn't want to put the video out because I knew that there were going to be people that said for some reason I didn't. A helicopter didn't circle me 6 times at 10 a.m. at night or not 10 p.m. at night when even though I literally had it on video. And then that helicopter was flying below the radar line because I had it on video, but then I went on flight radar, it didn't show up. But that really happened. I really did have a military helicopter fly over my workspace under the radar at 10 p.m. at night and circle me 6 times. And there's a video of it that's on all my social medias, and it really happened. And shortly after that, I had one of the most intense cybersecurity attacks ever. The most intense I've ever experienced in my life. So that's just what happened, you know. All right, Quan, you are up. Last person for the night.
Hi, Julian. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you, Quan?
Doing quite all right. The name's Sean. Quan's just a moniker. But it's really good to meet you. Been a big fan since Mark III. Been following your journey for some time. Very inspired by the journey of a welder. Really taken on an excellent endeavor. One that's had a lot of tribulations, and the bravery to share it all online has um, definitely, yeah, been a spectacular watch. I can't imagine what goes through your head. Wanted to start with some appreciation
Hey,
for what you're
thank you. And I
doing.
like the suit, by the way. I
Um,
want to say I appreciate how you dressed up.
yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that as well. When it comes to, yeah, where do I begin? I think one of the things that I'm curious to know about you, since we're kind of going along with this Q&A thing, I'm not really looking to exactly debate personally, because I guess I'm quite aligned with the mission, but I am curious to know, um, in making a machine and in improving it and popularizing the idea of the chemistry that you're working under, there's got to be a million and one different goals that you're balancing at the same time. Cost improvements, more acute control, proof of concept versus maybe yield, and also just bringing awareness and minds to this cause that you have. Um, the two-part question that I have is, the first part is, what of those goals would you say is your top priority right now, and um, how do you manage it? So is it making the machine better for yield, better for cost, or bringing awareness to the machine?
So that's a great question. I would say that my primary focus is making the most functional machine possible, and that does, that means I want to make a machine that operates consistently, without issue, and safely, and that's something I've not, and continuously. That's something I've not been able to master yet, and all of those things are necessary for all the next steps. Because I need a consistent and safe and continuous operating machine to process the most amount of plastic possible, to make the most amount of fuel possible, and to thus bring the most amount of awareness to the project, because that will be what's necessary for us to make the real impact. If I'm able to, get this machine running 24 hours, it'll be easier to say, hey, even if it's a small machine, we can go through 100 or 200 pounds of plastic a day. That's a decent figure for this size machine. And then with that, now we can know, okay, if a single trailer can do, let's say, 200 pounds a day consistently, safely, and all that, okay, that's how this could be marketed. Okay, then we can scale that up. Then it's easy to be like, okay, if this size machine on this trailer is doing 200 pounds consistently and safely, if we double the size of it, now we're doing 400 pounds a day consistently. You just go from there. And I think that that kind of solves all of the things at once. And so the hope is this new design I'm going to implement for Mark V is going to be the first consistently running, safely operating, and consistently operating machine that at the same time is going to be a double-edged sword, because at the same time it's mobile and it will allow me to bring the most awareness ever to the machine, because I'll be able to do an entire US tour, even Canada tour, even South America tour with the machine on the trailer at the same time. That's the hope.
Yeah. So it's really the awareness of the proof of concept, which I think it's really stellar. The leap between a batch operation to continuous is definitely a challenging one. And the machine itself, it's already kind of, would you say that there's like a startup and shutdown procedure that you sort of have to adhere to achieve sort of a steady state where you're producing?
Not really. Especially with how I've kind of been setting up the machines. I mean, there's a slight procedure in that. The only procedure is that for the first hour when the machine is heating up, you cannot turn on the auger blades on the inside, or else they're going to deform, because the plastic molds around them. The leftover plastic that was left from the last one will mold around them, and it becomes such a hard surface that the blades would warp trying to torque out of it. So you have to wait until it's molten. That's literally the only procedure. I'm working on a continuous discharge system to where the carbon will be able to be discharged while the machine is running. So really, for the most part, it's very simple. You got to think about it like this. I've operated all the machines over all these years, while at the same time recording myself, live streaming, and probably doing a ton of other things at once. So the machines, if your sole focus is purely just operating it, it really isn't that bad to operate.
That makes sense. And you're referring to like the auger, or the
shaftless auger blades on the inside that agitate the
blade?
plastic. They can only operate when the machine is hot, or else they would deform, and then you gotta pull them out, fix them, put them back in.
Gotcha. So when it comes to like picking the parameters that you set for the machine, do you have like a recipe that you aim for?
No, I don't, because I designed this machine with the intention of, I want to deal with true trash. I don't want to go onto a beach where there's plastic and I have to be here like, oh, do I want to get 30 blue plastics to 20 red plastics? No, I want the machine to be able to handle any mix, any ratio. I just want to be able to throw it in and get rid of the trash, regardless of what the thing is. And the machine has been successful in that.
Gotcha. So what's like the when you talk about the proof. I feel like the scat packs and the jet engines, showing how different cuts are, you know, um, you're creating useful
Yeah.
chemical, right? You're creating a fuel source, and that's like a really compelling example for the masses. When it comes to like accessing grant funding or like trying to, uh, yeah, continue to reach a bit higher to the echelons of uh, people that'll bankroll you for
Yeah.
a scale up. Um, do you have like a metric or goal that you're trying to prove to them? Because everybody's going to get excited to see the fuel go into the machine and see it run. But I'm sure that there's like a bit more to the picture that some of these folks that want to invest are looking for. And like, what do you see them asking about your
So as
machine?
it stands, I'm not
Something like
interested
that.
in investors. I am interested in grants. I don't want to give up equity because I do believe that it's very important that this technology stays in the right hands with the best intention for the people and the world to benefit. Because we saw what happened with plastic recycling in the wrong hands. So I'm not, investors would speed it up a ton. I can get investors today, but I don't want investors. Um, and in terms of grants, the grants really want to see exactly what I was talking to you about. They want the figures on how much plastic this machine processes a day. Can it run consistently and safely? And how much fuel you make in a day? And what does that fuel look like? So the truth is, I do still need to do further testing on the fuel. I do need to get the complete emissions test on the fuel, the complete engine dyno test to see how it compares to regular gasoline. That once again is tied to other issues because I've never been able to make enough fuel to do those long-term tests because you need like 40 gallons, and every time I get close to making that many gallons, the machine will break down. And that's why I decided let me just build a new machine that can hopefully be way more consistent because it's built from a more professional foundation to begin with, and then I can then get to all of that. So that's the whole point of Mark V, to solve all of those issues. So that's why I kind of say Mark V is almost the last prototype in that way, because it's going to lay the groundwork to where the machine after Mark V is not even really a prototype, because Mark V is solving all the prototype issues of breakdowns and nonsense and not being professionally built and all these type of things.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, that's a really great like strategic outlook. Um, so a bit of background on myself, just to kind of like contextualize some of these questions. My name's Sean Radowski. I'm a chemical engineer from New York. I've worked in pharmaceutical industry for a majority of my career, transitioned to specialty chemistry after I moved to some roles that uh, I'm based where I am now in Paris, France. I'm a process designer and modeler. I use some of the Aspen Tech tools. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that suite of stuff, but typical heat material balance. And right now, I work with a lot of different carbon capture teams. I work with
Oh
oil and
wow.
gas magnates, people that are developing polymers, people that are developing um, fluorocarbons, refrigerants, and a lot of exotic molecules. And I work with them to help uh, try and figure out their next step in planning. I'd be keen to reach out to you and give you a bit of some of my skill set if it's helpful. I filled out the survey form on the website. I really believe in your vision, and I think that it's been a very worthy investment of your time. I like the way that you're going about it in full transparency. And so, if I can add for one last question, I'll hand it over. When it comes to the process, you've gone through so many modules. You're on Mark V now, um, and it's got to have been a bumpy journey. Certainly, no short set of challenges. I think back to like those safety
Yeah.
incidents that you had, and that's some really heartbreaking moments. And uh, I can imagine that there's also been a lot of struggle in private where you just kind of like are banging your head against the wall trying to solve some of these issues. Um, and despite it all, you're in front of the camera, you're in front of the audience, you're in front of a wide group of people that believe in your vision, but also tend to
For
stress
sure.
test it with these kind of debate contexts. Um, what's something that you kind of go back to, a maxim or a touchstone that helps you to maintain your momentum despite it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And to me, it's the foundation of why I started. I started this because I, at the end of the day, at the very least, wanted to create a solution to deal with all of my own plastic waste and to know that I don't need a company, I don't need the government, I don't need some other entity to have my waste and tell me they're recycling when they're not. I can do it myself. And so at the end of the day, regardless of whatever happens to me or what anybody says, if I'm on Mark 10, I still want my own machine so that way one day when I'm on my own homestead, I can process all my own plastic waste and run all of my own engines off of fuel made from plastic waste because once I learned that it was possible to do, I couldn't let it out my mind. I can't throw plastic in my trash bin knowing it's not going, or in my recycle bin knowing it's going to end up in the landfill when I know that not only will this create microplastic pollution forever, but it could have been turned into something useful. And so that's the root foundation of my work because at the end of the day, I want it. And, it's kind of like what they say, it's almost like they say you can't love people if you don't love yourself. Well, I couldn't love my work if I didn't love it myself, right? And everybody around me could tell me how good it is and how much it would change the world. But if I don't believe that myself, then the minute it's under the right type of scrutiny or right struggles, it'll fall apart. But that's really why I've been at it as consistently with the same fire for all these years. Because with if nobody else, I just want to have a machine I could use myself.
I think that's a really good note to end on. If you're all right with it, I'll catch up with you via email to see if I could be of any help. Um, when it comes to some of the projects I'm working on, sustainable aviation fuels is a key driver for industry giants like Total Energies, ExxonMobil, and Dow Chemical. It's one of my accounts that I work on, and they're doing some really fantastic stuff using like data-driven modeling with the readings that you're taking on this stuff. You can use it to in an offline way drive good conclusions about how you set your next goal, how you set your next cost-cutting measure, how you set your next idea. So I'd be keen to share some of those models with you,
Absolutely. I
Gratis. I
think
believe
it's
in the
awesome that
vision.
you're a
I think
chemical
we all do.
engineer and that you took the time here and you had great questions. So I've sent you a friend request so you can share some of the other information with me here on Discord. Thank you so much. And great way to end the night for sure.
Roger that.
All right.
Cheers.
Take care. Thank you.
God bless.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. That ends our critical conversations this Wednesday. I know we had a few people that came in and raised their hands now. Sean was the last person up for the day, but I'll let you guys up certainly next time, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. EST to about 9 p.m. EST. We do these live streamed on YouTube, hosted here on Discord. Thank you all for making it out. Everybody in the Discord audience, everybody in the YouTube audience, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time. And continue, think about your questions and even people that want to debate. Hey, everybody's welcome to the chat, to the table, to offer your suggestions, your critical questions. Thank you so much to everybody, and we're gonna get back to work towards Mark 5, the next machine. So thank you guys. Take care, and we will call it an adios. Que te vaya bien. And thank you all.